This review is brought to you by Netflix. So here we are, Gran Turismo 6, the game that will most likely be Sony's last first-party title for the PlayStation 3. Not counting Gran Turismo 5 Prologue, it seems odd that we would only have 2 Gran Turismos on this console, given the PS3's considerable time on the market. And the fact that it comes out after the launch of the PS4 makes us wonder why Sony didn't move the production over to the new console. But development speculation aside, we've done the deep dive into Polyphony Digital's latest, and it's Gran Turismo at its purest. Right down to the 24 or so Nissan Skylines. When you first take the wheel in Gran Turismo 6, you sense its own adherence to tradition. That is to say, the default gas and brake controls are mapped to the shape buttons, just as Polyphony Digital did 15 years ago. Of course, you can reconfigure the controls to the modern scheme where acceleration and brake are on the shoulder buttons. No matter which Gran Turismo was your introduction to the series, experiencing your first off-track spin-out is a rite of passage, especially for those who are raised on arcade racers. It's not enough to simply let go of the gas to slow down, you have to hit the brakes. A lot. It's an easy concept to grasp if you drive in real life, and it's this sense of realism that warrants playing much of the game on the cockpit camera setting. For its focused commitment to simulation, GT6 actually does not bog you down with time-consuming training drills, although the game does have a number of brief and basic exercises. It follows the philosophy that the best kind of training is on the field. For newcomers, there's great comfort in relying on the optional guiding lines. Following the line and its recommended braking points creates a trust game, and the fruits of that trust come in the form of the top 3 placings. Like Luke Skywalker turning off his targeting computer in the Death Star trench, Gran Turismo 6 is at its most rewarding when you've turned off the guiding line and other handicaps. When you gain the confidence to improvise through a corner, veer slightly off the recommended path, and win first place all in the same race, it's as if you're playing a completely different game and a much better one at that. As such, it would have been nice to earn added rewards for driving with as few assists as possible. The beauty of a series as long-running and feature-packed as Gran Turismo is how it draws different fans to its different modes of play. In GT6's career mode progression evolves at a satisfying pace, where you need to only clear each event once without added grinding, as long as you're ranking in the top 3 regularly. Provided you're sensible with your currency, you'll have just enough funds to buy a car that qualifies for the next race. Furthermore, GT6 ensures that you're not limited to what's in your garage, as many of its vehicle-specific events include cars for rent. Such vehicle variety begets competitions and assignments that aren't your traditional races. Not seen since Gran Turismo 4, the coffee break missions offer diversionary goals like knocking over cones or driving as far as you can in a single liter of gas. This culminates in amusing, albeit grossly novel, missions set on the moon. After spending hours at high-speed races, the slow speed of the lunar rover can feel jarring. That is, until you find out you can perform impractical jumps off the moon's uneven surface. At this point, we'd be disappointed if Gran Turismo 7 doesn't have golf carts.
Go on and head to the next target.
There is still a joyous sense of ownership in committing to a car purchase, whether it's your first Aston Martin or a high-end Japanese import. That said, Turn 10 Studios, in their close collaboration with Top Gear, have elevated car fetishization to a level that makes the ceremony of GT6's car reveals feel dated, and that's not counting this year's exquisite Forza Motorsport 5. Even the most avid Gran Turismo car collector will find the 1,200 plus automotive roster overwhelming. The ratio of substance to quantity depends on the manufacturer. We liked the selection that Mercedes-Benz offered, though it was a challenge in grasping the spectrum of nuance in the game's 24 Subaru Imprezas. That's not to discredit Polyphony Digital's work beyond the pavement. In fact, GT6's rally offerings in both cars and racing venues are impressively abundant. Negotiating drifts on dirt in Gran Turismo has always felt like driving reserved for advanced level players, and this is why such races aren't available in the novice categories of the career mode. Naturally, conquering the corners and curves of rally tracks are gratifying achievements in and of themselves. While Sony did not turn on the game's multiplayer servers before launch, GT6 promises 16-player online support in qualifying races. For completionists needing the tens of millions to spend on the game's vast roster of cars, having interest in multiplayer may be necessary, if only to break up the monotony of competing against AI racers time and time again. But if you're primarily interested in the game's online play, be sure to wait until the game has released and see how the servers and matchmaking hold up. Polyphony Digital's work on the user interface of Gran Turismo 5 was a curious and cluttered misstep for a series known for their exquisite menus. The studio has learned from this, giving GT6 an organized front-end UI that feels inspired by the vertical and horizontal ease of the PS3's cross-media bar. Whether it's advancing your career or tuning your 2007 Mazda RX-8, finding the right columns could not be easier. It still takes 4 or 5 button presses to get into an actual race, but at least the loading times average an acceptable 30 seconds. Where the UI fluidity falls short is in matching race requirements with the cars that meet those requirements, which was also an annoyance in Gran Turismo 5. One of Gran Turismo's strengths is the specificity of its menu races, so it stands to reason that finding a selection of cars that meet those requirements should be simple. It's not. Whatever combination of class, model year, or manufacturer region is required, you have to bring that mental checklist out of the career mode, back to the main menu, then to the dealership. Then you have to sift through the entire roster of cars. The recommended cars list is helpful, but its offerings do not cover all the categories in a given license class, and there are usually better cars to find if you spend the time going through the dealership menus. While the series' commitment to an authentic driving experience is on full display in Gran Turismo 6, it should also be commended for being reasonably accommodating to newcomers. This degree of accessibility is matched by its content-rich suite of modes, cars and racing locales, making GT6 more than a footnote in a season overshadowed by the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Yet, given its lack of innovation, Gran Turismo 6 falls short of being a fitting bookend to Sony's first-party library on the PlayStation 3. A 4 out of 5. Alright, let's take a quick moment to thank our sponsor, Netflix. Netflix lets you stream your favorite movies and TV shows straight into your home, saving you time, money, and the hassle of dealing with a cable company. All you need is an internet connection and a Netflix-enabled device like a computer, smartphone, or hey, maybe your PlayStation 3. Best of all, you can get a free trial membership and support Rev3 Games by going to netflix.com/Rev3Games. Alright, so that's what we thought of Gran Turismo 6. Maybe our last review of a PlayStation 3 game. We'll see. Anyway, we have a ton of other reviews from this crazy fall season up, so whether you're interested in PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox, whatever it is, click the links on the side, and we'll see you next time.